the search of potential funders and not seeing the results you would like? I am Michelle Rollins, veteran, military spouse, a grant writer expert and fundraising professional. I have transformed ideas to real-life transformations in many nonprofits and businesses. Let me transform your ideas to a whole new level. Reach out today for a consultation. Find me at Michelle Rollins LinkedIn and Facebook, and at Michelle Rollins Grants on YouTube. Welcome to Grant Writing with Michelle. I'm your host, Michelle Rollins, and you're on ESPN Richmond, powered by Mike King Biz. I'm delighted about our show today. I have a guest that is a first responder spouse, like myself, but also owns her own business. In the last two shows, we have explored excellent leadership, which is so important to grant writing and fundraising consulting. Also nonprofit coaching, which is crucial to assisting businesses and organizations. One of my previous clients was Chesterfield Gives Back, an amazing first responders nonprofit that gives back to show appreciation to our Chesterfield men and women that serve as EMTs, firefighters, 911 dispatchers, and police officers. I was the fundraising consultant that led the way to securing sponsors for what was the yearly appreciation day. Part of securing sponsors for an event is providing a fabulous fundraising event flyer. So I referred this wonderful young lady. She is a first responder spouse, as I mentioned, but also a graphic designer. Her marketing and my fundraising expertise allowed us to connect new people to the organization, get new volunteers, and raise money. I am happy to report that all sponsorships were filled, and I brought on the title sponsor, ServPro. By bringing our fundraising and marketing team together, we were able to have a successful day for our first responders and their families. Lilah Lawson is the owner of Lilah Solo Design. I'm so sorry.
No, you're totally fine.
She illustrates her work, books, business logos, and ads for marketing. She designed the logos for a few companies, including the Richmond-based company Dumpster Wagon. And she is currently working on some work cover designs. Welcome, Lilah. Thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me. Like you said, I'm a graphic designer. I mostly work as an in-house graphic designer, but I also do freelance work on the side. My goal ultimately is to be able to do that full-time, and I have such a love for illustration that's spanned since I was a child, and unfortunately, in this line of work, there are a lot of graphic designers out there, so it's really hard to set yourself apart. And I've, speaking to other graphic designers with even more experience than me, the consistent feedback I've always gotten is that what sets me apart is my work in illustration. So I try to incorporate that when I can. Mm-hmm.
So what is it that you like about the illustrations? Because you keep emphasizing the illustrations. I know we talked prior to this show, and you have a passion there. So what has driven that passion?
So I know this might sound silly. So my dad was really into art. He actually passed away when I was very young, but that was something that we really shared. He was like away getting chemotherapy, and one way that we stayed connected is he would draw pictures for me. He drew this really beautiful picture of Belle from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, very neat.
And so even after he died, I kind of used art to kind of stay connected to him. And it's just, it's kind of stayed with me my whole life. So what I love about it is that I feel like there's a coziness to it. My art is very, you can definitely tell I liked anime and also like Disney. So there's like I said, there's like a coziness to it. And I like that I can, in a way, like show my individuality in that way. And like I said, use that to kind of be unique in a way. I'm like a type 4 Enneagram. So like being like unique is like important to me.
No, it's awesome you're here today because one of the things that I wanted to do was actually be a Disney graphic designer at one point in my life.
Oh my gosh.
I actually draw Disney characters for my kids, and when I sent my child's letter to West Point recently, I drew Goofy on the back.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. So I get the whole passion, and I also drew pictures for my grandfather when he's a Korean War vet, and when he was in the hospital many years ago, I used to draw pictures, and it made him happy on the wall at the hospital. So I totally get that whole calm, and it's just, it brings something special to you to want to be able to do that, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what drove you to want to help Chesterfield Gives Back, because I know that I referred you.
Yeah.
I had to. I mean, you're a first responder spouse like me, and I want to help another fellow wife. I just think that's awesome, by the way, and couldn't have thought of somebody better, because I always want to help my own first.
Yeah.
So you came on. What was the driving force? Just the fact that your husband's also a police officer.
Yeah, and also like you said, you have a military background, so is your husband. And I actually grew up in Germany. My dad, he's retired Air Force, and he worked for the Department of Defense for a long time. So I grew up in that environment, so that's familiar to me.
Yes.
So
awesome.
and honestly, it was kind of like, now that I've like moved back to the U.S., that it's not as much a part of my life anymore. Right. So in a way, it was like a little bit of like coming home a bit. So there was some familiarity there, but yeah, I really enjoyed that.
And when you worked on it, I think it's important for people to know that fundraising is important, but you have to have somebody that's amazing at the logos, being able to really catch the details, because that flyer is the walking piece of branding, trying to get new sponsors, new funders, just really be able to connect people to know this is like the first thing that you share that they're seeing when you're presenting something to them about the mission, about what you need, because usually people are like, okay, what do you need? Tell me what you need. And if you don't have a presentable flyer that has amazing details of what the amount is, breaking it down with the appropriate information as well as the amount, and it's clear, then they bypass you. They go on to the next person. And what I'd like you to do is tell everyone why it's important, to be able to break down certain marketing pieces or flyers for nonprofits especially.
Yeah, so one of the things that I've learned in my time working in marketing is that you learn a lot about people and what they like, and what draws them in. And for instance, like doing ad work, a lot of times we'll do comparisons, or I'll try different fonts, and it could be the same picture, and one will receive more of a response than the other. So we start to see trends. We start to understand what people like want to see. So when you do that, you like I said, you can draw people in. Ultimately, the goal in marketing is to solve a problem. So in the same way, you're doing that with fundraising. You're ultimately trying to solve a problem.
Absolutely.
So by using those tools, you can be more successful, because you want to get more eyes on your fundraiser to raise awareness.
Yes. And I know when we went through the process and you came on and you worked on it, we had to do a few things to just tweak it up, because we're trying to target a certain audience. We're also trying to gauge what makes that nonprofit, what their colors are, what makes them special, so we can bring on new sponsors. I mean, I know that when you and I worked together, we brought on a lot of new sponsors, and that flyer was very important, because that's what I put out there for the potential title sponsor, as well as other new titles that came on, and now they're following that nonprofit continuously. And it's because of you and I working together that we were able to do that and provide that service to them, so they'll continue giving to not only our spouses, but also to our other fellow families, first responder families. And that's important, because whether we continue or not, we need to be able to allow that work to continue on. And that, I know that that flyer was amazing, as well as the other work that you did. And I'm so glad that I could bring on someone that, understands that life, understands that appreciation and mission, and as well as be able to understand that audience that you're trying to target. And you were able to gauge that. Are your services available for other nonprofits right now? Are you still...
I'm definitely like open to it right now. I'm kind of focusing on my full-time job, but it's something that I want to do in the future. And basically right now, if I hear that like somebody needs that sort of role, I usually will volunteer, or I get a lot of referrals And I usually will do, we'll work with people in that regard.
How can people find you?
So I'm on Instagram. My handle's Lilah Solo Art, and I have a website with my portfolio. It's lilahsolodesign.com.
Okay. So you all heard that. You want to say the website one more time?
It's Lilah Solo Design, and it's Lilah. So.
Yes, and she's on social media. You can also find her, and you can connect with her if you have services that you need more. Find her details, because what I can tell you as coming on as a grant writer and fundraising consultant, where you don't always have the answers for the marketing piece. While I tell people I can help you, I also compare different clients to others and say this will help you more to improve for your target audience. It's not always the best, because again, I'm not the graphic designer. I'm the fundraising and grant writer rock star, as Mike King Biz would say. So we just got to make sure that that you got to have two teams that come together to really bring that stewardship in, to get the most bang for your buck and to bring the best stewardship journey in. So I totally appreciate you coming today. Do you have any final thoughts you would like to mention to our audience about some of the other things that you do as well, besides your business?
Oh man.
I know you mentioned helping moms.
Yeah.
So could you want to mention a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So I work for a company that supports moms, particularly breastfeeding moms, and we do a lot of community service to help moms and just kind of give that support. And that's important to me because
that's what I was going to say.
Mom.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You're a mom. Why wouldn't it be? And us as moms that have our own businesses always have really a personal connection to something that we're trying to do and succeed in. So very, very awesome. And also, I just want to tell everybody out there, it's really important when you have your own network and you want some more help in your nonprofit teams, because usually you can find talented individuals within your organization or who you're serving. And in this case, I was able to bring someone on that also lives the same life that I do and also understands the mission. And she has a talent to, a fine talent for detail and the art of really the marketing piece. And she is a graphic designer. She's always looking for some type of work. So guys, if you need a wonderful graphic designer, I cannot recommend somebody better than Lilah here. So with that said, there's so many takeaways from this show today. Something to keep in mind that is crucial to the fundraising and marketing team is a collaboration. And again, working as a team, knowing you can't do everything on your own. And also when you bring on a contractor or a consultant, you got to keep in mind that sometimes you got to spend the extra money to bring on that extra person to work together, collaborate, because that's usually where you're going to fine tune your audience, bring in more money, and it creates the longevity of your relationships that from your donors, to not looking at just the smaller goals, but really gauging your longevity of what you're looking for moving forward. And what she and I did together really changed the landscape of the nonprofit that I was able to help, as well as her. And it was really amazing to be able to attend that event and know that you helped this cause and you're part of it and you get to experience it. It was so cool. So thank you for being with us today. And thank you for joining us. And stay tuned. We're going to have another show next week with Grant Writing with Michelle. Thank you.